All right, hello guys. Welcome back. So in this lecture, we're going to be talking about the date function. Dates. You can use dates for, to calculate what somebody's age, the length of time that has passed between two different points in time, two different dates. And the date has some certain functions that we should study. So when we get into it, probably will make more sense to you. Then we're also going to talk about text. That is regular text, words, sentences. Excel is not really very big on text and words, but has some functions to help us make sense of when we have to write dates, when we have to write text, and how we can use those effectively in Excel. So let me go ahead and share my screen now, and then we can look at dates. And this video might actually be split into two. So we're going to cover dates now, and another video that is available to you will cover text. So in this lecture, we're going to talk about dates. All right, so let me go ahead and share my screen. All right, let me just zoom in here. So what we want to take a look at here is date functions. Excel has a lot of ways of working with dates. Let's take a look at a few of them during this session. All right. So first thing I'm going to do here is I'm just going to write down a random date. So let's say 1/2010. Now, as always, you want to be sure that you're typing along and following the practice on your own computer or laptop. All right, so I'm going to copy this date, Control-C to copy. I'm going to paste it a few times here just to demonstrate what I'm trying to do. All right. So if you go to A1, that is the first date we have here, it's all the same date, right? Just want to show you something. So if you click on the first one here in the cell A1, now you want to go to this number section here, right? Up here in your Excel ribbon. And you want to drop down there and click on General. Now, before we do that, we're going to come back to that actually. That's a very important, shall I say, button or option we're going to use. But we'll come back to that in a second. So click on this. You want to expand this number option here, and it's going to bring it to your format cells. And your format cells is where you can change. I think we've done this a few times, where you can change numbers and currency, put a dollar symbol and stuff like that. You can also get to this format cells box by right-clicking on your data and go to format cells. Or you might say format number on your version of your computer, but you're looking for the word format there. So you can get to it this way, or you can get to it through this number options here. All right, so let's go back to date. Now we're going to select, now you notice here when you drop down under the type options that Excel has lots of ways of displaying the date. So I'm going to select the first one. Now, first of all, before you work with this, you want to be sure that you set your date in the proper format. Now, this is the proper format that Excel recognizes, all right? 1/1/2010. If you don't have it in the proper format, Excel might not recognize it as a date. But the way we have it now, Excel will recognize it as a date. All right, let's keep going. So let's select the second option here. The second option, let's click OK. You can see that Excel does what we call, it gives you a long date. It gives you the day, that particular date. It shows you the day of that date, the month, the day of the month, the 1st of January, and the year. So that's like a very long way of writing a full date, including the day, the month, the date, the day of the week, rather, that's what I meant to say, Friday, January 1st, 2010. Let's click on the other option and go back there. And let's format that with another option here. So another option that we have is maybe a more simplified date. So let's click on this one here. So that's another way of writing the date. We click on the third option. We go back here. And if you scroll down, there's several ways of, here's a date that includes the time. Now that doesn't actually capture the time, but we gotta write the date that we're trying to deal with there. So actually it does capture the date and time. Just for some reason, it cuts off the 20, right, in the year. But if you double click, you're gonna see the full thing, 1/1/2010. All right? And then we have another option here. Like I said, there are lots of options as you can see. You can scroll down and maybe grab, I don't know, the last option there. Well, which is kind of like this. So there are different ways of displaying the date. It depends on the job you're doing. I guess most times you probably may write the date as in maybe a abbreviated format, as in this 2010, as in this way we have here, all right? So we're looking at how Excel can display the dates, all right? All right, let's move on. Now, something else very interesting that we're gonna look at with Excel is, let's say, for example, you have, I'm gonna come here, and let's just put some names here. Just gonna say name, date of birth, and then we're gonna say today. So I'm gonna say this is Molly. Name, date of birth, today. All right, so Molly, now let's say, just come up with some random date. Let's say Molly's birthday is 12/4/1990, all right? So that's Molly's birthday, and let's talk about, say, Zara. All right, let's keep going. So we have just two, names here, Molly and Zara. And Molly's birth date is, that's December 4th, 1990, and Zara will be May 22nd, 1998. So basically, you want to know, well, how do I calculate Molly's birthday? Like in the sense of from when she was born up to now, how do I tell how old is Molly? How many days has passed? How many years? How old is she? Right, how old is Sarah and how old is Molly? So you want to know how many years, maybe you want to know how many days, maybe how many hours, right? Excel date functions can help us get a lot of details, right, of the birth dates and all the different hours and dates and times, basically, to figure that out, all right? All right, we're going to come back to that in a second. So let me lay something out here. So we're going to go back to this date. Now there's a kind of a conversion when you want to calculate dates that Excel does. So let's grab this date, which is the same date we've been working with. We'll come back to the birth date in a second. All right. I'm just going to copy that date, Ctrl-C, and put it here. Exactly the same date. Now you want to go to I think I mentioned this earlier, you want to go to the number section and click on General, okay? Now you notice that Excel converted this January 1st, 2010 to 40,179, okay? Now you might be wondering, what is that date? Or what is that number representing? Good question. That's a really good question, in fact. But I'll get to the answer in a second. Well, let's talk about it now. So Excel uses a kind of a baseline or a starting point where it starts to count dates and times, right? So people got together, experts got together, historians, people who make this kind of decisions, not yourself or myself, right? And decided that the date, January 1st, 1900, okay, is going to be, well, I don't want to put that in, I just want to put that in the regular, okay, I'm just going to go here and just type it out for you. January 1st, 1900. Okay, Excel keeps converting it back to something else. Let me just format it to a clear enough date for you to see. So just go to date here. All right. So that is so to speak, that is the beginning of time. That's the beginning of time where date and times, because we needed a reference point. Like, how do you tell somebody's age? How do you tell the time between two dates? So by default, January 1, 1900 is the serial number 1. All right? So we start counting. Day 1 is January 1, 1900. Okay? Day 1. Day 1. And so every date after that, you just got to count all the days, right? Count all the days, and then you will know how many days have elapsed, right? It's going to make sense to you when we look at the birthdays. So January 1st, right? So all calculations that Excel does starts January 1st, 1900. That is day 1, okay? All right, so this will make a bit more sense to you now. So right here, we're going to convert this again back to general, and it gives you, so basically, this date, January 1st, 2010, is 40,179 days from January 1st, 1900. That's basically what it's telling you, right? So you convert any standard date to general, it's going to give you a number that represents what you might refer to as from the first day of the beginning of time, which is January 1st, 1900. All right? Now, let's keep going here. So let's say I want to convert, I want to kind of convert this date to hours and minutes and stuff like that, right? So there's something I can do about that, all right? Okay, so let's go here and let's, let's keep going about this dates here. So let's go to Molly and Zara, right? So we're going to say that today is 1/1/2023, okay? Now let's get the difference. Now watch this. If we do equals today minus the birthday, look at that. We didn't have to actually convert to general, right? We didn't have to convert to general. Excel automatically on the back end does the conversion right to general. But I needed to show you those steps so you understand how Excel, gets these numbers. Excel is looking at the two dates and is coming up with a number 11,716, which is the number of days between those two dates. So Molly, we can say this is days. So Molly is 11,716 days old, you can say, right? If you want to know how many years that is, kind of like how we did it earlier, you go to equals, you grab this date, and you divide it by 365. All right? Molly is going to be 32 years at that point. If Molly was born in 1990, and Molly's trying to figure out her age, right? In 2023, well, Molly's going to be about 32 years old, 33 years plus or minus. All right. Same thing with Zara. 1/1/2023. We can just basically drag this down to apply it. So Molly has, Zara has a fewer days because she was born later. And if you drag this down, Zara is about 24, 25 years old. Okay? Now, something else we should look at here is two different times, not just dates now, times, right? So here I'm going to write a time. Basically, I want to say 8 p.m. Okay, I want to say 8. So I want to see the difference between 8 p.m. and 9 p.m. and 8 p.m. and 5 a.m. or something. So now to do this successfully, you have to before you type your actual date or time, you have to convert this 8 p.m. to date time. So just type the number 8, just the number 8 or 9 or some number, right? And then let's format that number into time. So you select the first option for time, click OK, and now Excel formats it to time. And that's not the exact time we want, but watch this. If you double click in here, the time that Excel has set up there is January 8th, 1900. So all we got to do is you can go up here into the formula bar, or you can go here and say the date you want is, say, for example, 2010. All right. So you hit enter. And so this is 12 a.m. 1/8/2010. All right. Okay. Now I'm just going to drag this to the right and expand the column. So same day, 8th of January, 2010 at 12 a.m. And the next time you have here is just 1 hour later, 1 a.m. Okay? So we want to see the difference between, we'll say time 1 and time 2. Time 1 and time 2. The difference, okay? Time 1 and time 2. So let's just say hours. So how many hours has passed between those two times, right? We do equals here, and we say, we grab that cell minus this cell here, and we hit enter. Now, it's going to show you 1 a.m. Don't be alarmed. Just go back in here and convert it to general, okay? Now, when you convert that to general, let's see what Excel does here. We convert that to general, and now we can figure out in terms of hours and minutes and stuff like that, right? All right, so we go back in here and we say, 1 second. All right. So equals this number times 60 times 24. And that gives us 60 minutes. I mean, you can tell right away that it's, 60 minutes, which is 1 hour. But you just want to be sure, right? You want to know how you arrive at the numbers. So that's minutes. Actually, I should just say this is general, right? This is general. So that's the general conversion, general format, right? So you have your first time 1, time 2, you convert it to general, and then it shows you the minutes, and now you can say the hours. Each 24 hours, so 60 minutes makes 1 hour, all right? So you can see correctly that it shows you 1 hour. 1 hour has passed between 12 a.m. on 8th of January 2010 and 1 a.m. on the same day, okay? Now let's make this more interesting, right? Now, if you click in here and say, let's click in here. Maybe I should expand this cell here so we can see. That's how much you can expand. It's only showing you in the cell the time. It doesn't show you the full thing. But if you double click, then you see the full thing, all right? So the time 2, we're going to say that's going to be, how about 5 a.m.? All right, so that technically, that is 5 hours later. So time 1 is 12 a.m. and time 2 is 5 a.m. Now, general time has changed, the minutes have changed, and the hours have changed. All right? Because we have the formulas in there. Let me undo that. So I'm just going to copy what I have here so you can see the actual difference, how it's changing. I'm going to copy that here. All right. So I'm going to change this here to the 5 a.m. All right, 5 a.m. I'm going to drag this down. So that's general time, or general, milliseconds and minutes and all that put together. Now for the minutes, we're just going to drag it down to apply the formula. So that's 300 minutes. And when we drag the hours to apply the hours, that is 5 hours, right? Now we can do more than that, right? Let's copy this again here. Let's copy this here. And this time, let's use a different day, right? So we're going to say this is like maybe 2 or 3 days later. Let's see if Excel is able to figure that out. So again, the first day is the 8th of January. So we're going to say about, 2 or 3 days later. So let's say this is the 10th of January, right? At 5 a.m. So we have 2 different days, right? Apart by 2 full days, all right? So let's drag this down. Let's apply the minutes here, drag it down. So see, that's a whole lot of more minutes. That is 3,180 minutes between those 2 times or dates, right? And let's see how many hours that is. We drag it down. That is 53 hours. Now you can do the math yourself, and you're going to see that there's 2 days. There's 24 hours for each day, right? And this is 12 a.m. So 24 hours, right? That's 48 hours, and this is 5 a.m. So 48 plus 5 comes to 53 hours, right? So Excel is right. Now, even if you say this is between, let's copy this one more time and copy this also. All right. You want to say that the time is significantly different, maybe a different month even. So let's say this is going to be January 10, and now the time is going to be maybe, say, I don't know, it doesn't matter, maybe 12 a.m. on that date. So we can look at this is 12 a.m., 8th of January, and this is 12 a.m. On the 10th of March. So 3 months later. Well, once you have your formula all set, just drag this down to know the general. So you see it's giving us, like a whole number there. If we want to see the minutes here, we drag it down. That's a whole lot of minutes because it's about 3 months, sort of 3 months thereabouts. Yeah, 3 months and 2 days. 3 months and 2 days. January 8th. And this is second time 2 is March 10th. Okay? All right. So in terms of hours, let's see how many hours that is. That is 1,464 hours. Yeah, days. All right. So it's going to be hours divided by 24 to know the number of days, right? Yeah, we're not going to get a lot here because it's definitely less than a day, but let's do it anyway. So divided by 24. So yeah, that's the days right there. You drag it down. Okay. So actually, we did this already. Yeah, so right here is the same thing as what we have here. So yeah, the first conversion, which we did on the general. So general is also telling you the number of days. All right, so we didn't have to do this again, but just to be more clear about what we're doing here. So a few more things to look at when we talk about dates. I'm just going to grab this date here again, copy it, and come down here. Just a few more things here, and we should be all set. All right. So, well, we're talking about date functions, right? So let's look at some actual functions that you might find useful with dates. Today. All right, so if you type in today as a date, so as a date function, today, you can see the description there of that particular function. Returns the current date formatted as a date. So whatever day it is for you when you watch this lecture, if you double click this and hit enter, well, this is the day when this lecture has been recorded. And for you, it might be a different date. It might be a few months from now, a few years from now. But if you do that, it's going to give you the current date when you're watching this lecture. All right, so that's the today function. We have the now function. So again, you go here and equals now. And it says returns the current date and time, formatted as a date and time. So something like what we saw before. So if you double click this, you hit enter, and it tells you that the current date and the time is right about 6:14. Military time, which is 1814, it's going to be 6:14 in the evening. Okay. Here we have something else, weekday. So let's look at weekday. So equals weekday. So you can see right there that this returns a number from 1 to 7, identifying the day of the week. Okay. So double click that. If I hit enter, something is missing there, right? Something is missing. So the serial number and the return type. So let's do that again. So weekday, weekday. All right, serial number. So we're going to use this date here. All right. All right, so we're going to use this date here, right? This January 1st, 2010. And you can see that Friday, right? Remember what he said, the correct date, all right, the correct date formatted in a number. So going with this, Friday, right? So it says here that it's day 6. So you start to count from, if you have your Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So let's see what Excel does here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So Excel starts to count from Sunday. So Sunday is 1, Monday 2, Tuesday 3, Wednesday 4, Thursday 5, Friday 6. All right. So that's how it arrives at that number there, 6. Depends on the day when it starts to count, but we can tell that Excel begins the day on Sunday. And so Friday will be 6. All right. We have another function here, and that is week number, week num function. So let's see what that is. Equals week num. Week num returns the week number in the year, right? So again, using this date, so we want to see what's the week in the year. That's the first week. If we change this date here to say 6, that's in June. Now Excel says that, well, you see what happened here. It changed the day, which was a Tuesday, that's number 3 in the week, and week number is 23. So the 23rd week. So January 1st will be the first week. January, the second week will be 2, third week in January will be 3, fourth week in January will be 4. So you keep counting. Again, just to look at that definition, because you want to be sure, says right there, returns the week number in the year. Returns the week number in the year. So you start from there, about 52 weeks in the year. So January 1st all the way to December. So we use this date again. Oops, do that again. Yeah, so that's what we did there. All right, there are more functions here. You might look at a function like month. So something similar, month equals month. So again, returns the number, the month the number from 1, which is January, and 12, which is December. So double click that, grab this month here, this date, hit enter, and that's the 6th month. Pretty obvious. And then we have year, and year will be, same thing, equals year, returns the year of a date. All right, so we double click that, we grab this, and 2010, that's what's pretty obvious there. Okay, so a few different things there that can help you out. Let's see some time functions here. So time function, so a time function will be hour. All right, so let's see, equals hour. So hour returns the hour as a number, right? Returns the hour as a number. So if we put this here, let me make this bigger and grab this here. Well, because it's well, I'm not sure there's an hour here. So let's go format this properly. Let's go to number here. Let's grab a time. Let's use a time, and we're gonna say we use I don't know, the bottom one here, which gives us a time. All right. So it says it's 0 because it's 12 a.m. So let's say, suppose this was like, I don't know, 4 a.m. You can see that it changes the hour to 4. If it was, say, 8 p.m., changes to 20, all right, using the military time, right? 0 being 12, 1 being 1, and it keeps counting up to 24. If this was 12, if this was about 12 p.m., it reverses it. So maybe that makes sense to you. All right. So you have hour, you have minutes. I want you guys to check that out. You have seconds. All works very similarly. All right. So this ends the lecture for dates. There's another lecture for text because they kind of go together. And so that lecture has been made available to you. So please review this video here. If you haven't typed the examples, use your own date of birth or your friend's date of birth, your mom's date of birth, and see if you can arrive at the correct minutes and hours and days since they have been born, right? Or different calculations of times that you might have to work with, dates and times. Okay, I will talk to you later.